Well, first and foremost, I'm not a historian, so my idea for History Hunt was really just to make treasure hunts initially for people, just to kind of bring the story of the city they live in or the city they're visiting to life. And so for me, the natural progression was just to tell a story of the history, and so just finding out all these interesting kind of little tidbits of information from the area, and then trying to make clues and come up with kind of codes they can collect to kind of solve the story and lead to the final clue. Salisbury has an amazing history, and I've lived in Salisbury for the last 3 years. So when I first got here, I was like, wow, there's so much you can tell a story about. And the first thing I do when I come to a new place is just explore. I love to explore, and it was a no-brainer really. Like, it was just, so it is the first history hunt I've done, and I think it was a relatively easy process just because there was just so much to write about.
And obviously you've just mentioned that you're not a historian, and I guess you're not an app developer either. So how long did this process sort of take?
Yeah, a long time. I had to do a lot more research than most people would have, at least people who've had some experience with this thing. So luckily I have a friend who does a lot of software development. So he helped me out a lot in the early days, introduced me to the whole back end of the internet, which was a complete revelation for me. So from that point, it was a lot of kind of trial and error to try and get the web app and the website up and running. But yeah, it was probably about a 2-year process to get to this point where the first History Hunt is released. And of course, there's a lot of trial and error with the actual the History Hunt itself. And that took a bit of extra time too. The real trick for me with History Hunt was trying to use the information of a city as the clues. I'm more used to, in the past, I've actually left clues for people to kind of rummage around and find, so it'll be more of a temporary treasure trail. So for History Hunt, it's all about using the actual information of the city, and then I've kind of moulded that into a clue, and then from one point they'll solve a clue to then lead on to another bit of information, then they'll solve that. And so it's really, as they're kind of unravelling the story of Salisbury, they're also kind of